terrible loss. And who the hell is Dennis Prager to say with such arrogance that he knows her motivation and he can judge and say that she was only in it for the fame? Who the hell is he to judge that? How does he know her situation? How do you know that the reason that she didn't get involved in drugs is because she was an abused wife and that was her escape? What the hell does he know? This is the kind of arrogance and stupidity that foams at the mouth of Dennis Prager, and why he needs to be ignored.
You didn't even hear what he said. I just gave you like some brief uptake, and you just like went off on him, decrying him for supposedly going off on Whitney Houston. You went off on him, and you didn't even hear what he said. So you're every bit as volatile as the person.
Lakewood Rob agrees with me.
Well, Lakewood Rob didn't hear him either. So.
All right, whatever. All right. So that's what happens. So, all right, moving right along. Is there anything left, or can we get to the Parsha?
Let's go to the Parsha.
All right, get to the Parsha. Let's bring it up. Okay. All right. Thanks for being patient, folks. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of this week's show. All right. Here's your notes.
This week's Torah portion is Mishpatim. Follows the Ten Commandments. It's Exodus 21 to 24. Rabbi Beryl Wine writes, the Torah prescribes that a Jewish servant who wishes to remain permanently in servitude is given a permanent mark, a hole in his ears. Right. So I think Jews prefer to work for themselves rather than to be servants to others. Like it's easier to observe Jewish law, or get the Sabbath off, get the Jewish holidays off, and if you're your own boss. So Jews tend to prefer to be their own boss.
I've talked about it during my my special solo shows, that the Torah Way was always working for ourselves. The Talmud records that everyone used to work for themselves. Everybody used to have their own farms. Somebody used to be like the shoemaker, the clothes maker, the butcher. Jews primarily, all through history, going all the way back to Mount Sinai, we always worked for ourselves. The idea of a job and going to work in a job for somebody else is a new concept that is not inherently Jewish. This is something that's taken place. It's a modern Western concept of working for other people. But a Jew historically has always worked for himself. In fact, the foundation of America, we were talking about, the founders. The idea there was they always worked for themselves too. Labor, who do they use for labor? They brought in the slaves for that. Or now we export the jobs to China and Kuala Lumpur and the Philippines, right? Hello, Dell computer. And that's what's going on. Or who works locally here in America? It's the illegal aliens, right? Right, but because America is a land of ownership. This is where you come here because you want to own something. You want to start your own business. The American dream is not bleeding somebody else dry by working for them. The American dream is to come to America to open your own business. Levi is a product of the American dream. He came from Australia. He sounded like
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe, and then he lost that voice by compressing, and he became a squeaking deacon, and now, but he's opening up his own business, are you not? You've got flyers to prove it.
Exactly.
And you've turned a profit and turned tricks at the same time, and you've got $15 tips last week, and now you are the portrait of the American dream. And in fact, next year I expect to see you on the cover of Time magazine as Man of the Year, right? Because you are the portrayal.
I am the American dream.
You are the American dream. Right? And the American dream is very simple.
$50,000 in credit card debt.
Right. And the American dream is a good place for a Jew to be. Because our dream is not to make a ton of money, right? Our dream is to learn Torah all day. But America is a very good place for that because we can come here and we can learn Torah all day long and have a business going. We have our own business. You know who really understands that and came here and didn't do the job thing? Is the Persians.
Yeah.
You ever notice that? That's why they buy up all the businesses on Pico. Did you ever notice that?
No.
All the businesses on Pico get bought by Persians. They're all going to flip, and they're all going to end up in Persian custody. Every single one of them. Because that's what they do. They only know how to open their own business, and they don't go to work for other people. Okay, go ahead.
I got a question. How come Jews are so good at flattery? Like,
What?
you notice that like wasps in particular and goyim, they're not nearly as good at flattery. But like a Jew, he'll say, "Oh, Raj, you're mishpacha. You're mishpacha. You're my flesh and blood. You're my family. You're welcome here anytime. Let's study some Torah together. And I want you to get another chavrusa, just you and me. Let's study some Torah." I was reading about the big scam in New Jersey where all these Syrian rabbis were arrested and because they were like money laundering,
Right.
and just the way they would talk, like Jews will talk this way. I remember I was out for a walk a few weeks ago and I met this old man who was like 90 years old, and he said, "Oh, would you help me get? Do you mind?
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
You're being like me."
Good one. All right, go ahead.
So this guy wanted me to walk with him because he was old and fragile. So
Okay.
I said, "Sure, I'll walk with you. You're such a lifesaver. God sent you to me, and I really need you in my life, and I'm so lonely, and you're just, I love you so much." Okay, and so we like exchanged phone numbers, and I said, I'll check.
You gave him your phone number?
Yeah, I said I'll check in with you every day and see how you're doing.
Wow.
So I call him the next day, say, "Hey, how you doing?" And he says, "Oh, I said I'll come over to see you." And he said, "Do you have any food?" I thought, wow, the poor guy's got no food. And I said, "Well, I don't really cook, but he said, "Oh, just come on over." So I come on over, and there, like 5 minutes, he turns on the TV to watch the evening news. Then some other guy comes over, and he just totally ignores me. This is fine, I get up and leave. I check in on him the next day, and he says, "Oh, this is not a good time, I'm here with someone else." Anyway, in short, the next 4 times I check in on him, he's always with someone else that he'd rather talk to than me. But, when I met him, I got this whole schmooze that, I love you so much, God sent you to me, I really need you in my life, and, I noticed that with a lot of Jews. They really
I can
know
tell you what
how
happened
to...
in between.
Yeah.
He Googled you and found your blog. Okay.
But Jews are they can really flatter. They know how to they know how to lay it on thick in ways that Goyim would usually be too embarrassed to do. So what is it with you Jews?
I don't know.
Flattery and just seducing people with words and trying to make them feel like you really care about them and you really need them, but then as soon as there's anything remotely better, it's like, "Oh, sorry, buddy." What is it with that?
I don't know. I don't know this to be true. I don't have an opinion.
You ever notice that Jews can flatter and lay it on thick a lot more than the Goyim?
To be honest, my opinion, my experience has kind of been like the opposite. I find that Jews have a harder time producing a nice word. They're very critical. Nothing's ever fucking good enough for them.
Yeah.
It's like you could prepare them like a 4-course dinner, right?
Right.
Steak and ribs and everything, and they're gonna be.
Do you have anything gluten free?
It's never fucking good enough, right? And you could be an entertainer, and you could do sing and dance and act and everything, and they're going I've seen better. I'm not paying $30 for that shit, So, whereas a goy might be like, "Oh, this person's so talented," and then the Jew's like, my uncle does better.
Goyim are definitely easier to lecture to. You get brought in as a guest speaker, get brought into the Goyim. That's much easier.
Oh yeah, who the hell wants to play that? This is a famous board. I talked about this during my when you interviewed me. I don't want to ever perform to only Jews only. A room with Jews only, I'm dying in that room, right? A room with Jews only, I'm not going to make the room laugh.
Yeah.
Give me a room with Catholics only. That's a lot of fun, right? Because Catholics get me. Jews will be like, "I don't think he's funny. This is not funny. I'll tell you what funny is," right? Okay.
Okay, Rabbi Wein says, Talmud taught us that a truly free person is someone whose guide in life is Torah.
Right.
Now, this is paradoxical because I often feel enslaved to the Torah, and I at times I hate it.